and welcome to Indus News. Live from Islamabad, I'm Naila Shaja, and these are the headlines. Pakistan's army has relaunched the search operation for 3 climbers who went missing while descending the world's second tallest mountain, K2. Pakistan's Muhammad Ali Sadpara, John Snorri from Iceland, and Juan Pablo Mohr from Chile lost contact with the base camp on Friday. According to the President Alpine Club of Pakistan, Abu Zafar Sadiq said that chances of survival of the climbers is slim. Meanwhile, Pakistan's foreign minister discussed the missing of mountaineer John Snorri with his Icelandic counterpart. Another Indian farmer has committed suicide during the protest against the farmer laws in the Kiri border near the capital, New Delhi. As many as 175 people have died during the protests so far. Meanwhile, the farmer unions have called on peasants across the country to join the tractor revolution to intensify their agitation. In Myanmar's biggest city, Yangon, thousands of people have marched for a second day against the military coup and detention of Aung San Suu Kyi. Earlier, the country's parliament also rejected the military rule. Nearly 300 lawmakers said they alone represent the people and will continue to struggle for democracy. British drug maker AstraZeneca says its vaccine can provide immunization against the South African variant. The company's statement came after a recent study claimed that the vaccine was ineffective against the mutant strain of the virus. Meanwhile, Pakistan has registered over 1,300 new cases and 53 fatalities overnight, taking the death toll to 11,967. Globally, the virus has claimed over 2.3 million lives and infected more than 105 million people. And in cricket, Pakistan are 217 for 8 in their second innings on day 4 of the final test against South Africa in Rawalpindi. Earlier, the hosts bowled the Proteas out for just 201 runs. The Green Caps lead the match series 1-0 after winning the first test by 7 wickets. For more news and details, stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. Pakistan's army has relaunched the search operation for 3 climbers who went missing while descending the world's second tallest mountain, K2. Pakistan's Muhammad Ali Sadpara, John Snorri from Iceland, and Juan Pablo Mohr from Chile lost contact with the base camp on Friday. The president of Pakistan's Alpine Club says chances for their survival are slim due to the harsh weather. Yesterday, an army helicopter also conducted a search operation but could not trace anything. Meanwhile, Pakistan's foreign minister discussed the missing of mountaineer John Snorri with his Icelandic counterpart. Qureshi apprises authorities of the steps taken by Pakistani authorities to search, rescue, and the missing mountaineers. For more on this, we are joined by Abu Zafar Sadiq, the president of Alpine Club of Pakistan from Islamabad. Thank you so much for your time. Now, what are the updates of the search operation launched for the 3 missing climbers on K2?
Update is that today heli flew to the base camp, and we expect that they will have an aerial search of the missing climbers. We also expect that the climbers who are sitting in the base camp, like Dawa Sharwa and Sona, who have climbed, K2. This one of them climbed K2 in this winter as well. and Dava, who had climbed thrice earlier. They will taken on board and will fly with the crew of the heli and search above very height about 8,000 meters or below that. So the update is that the rescue and the search operation is going on after yesterday's efforts. Today are continued.
Now, Mr. Sadiq, it's been 3 days since we last heard from the missing climbers. Is there any past example of survival after such circumstances?
Survival chances are there, and if they are, have come to the Camp 3, as we know that there is established Camp 3, and the son of Hassan Satudara, who came down yesterday, if after leaving the base camp by the son of Ali Satpara, if they have arrived to the Camp 3, then there is a possibility. Otherwise, there are not much chances, particularly in this extreme, winter expeditions for survival 3 days, because they don't have their own tent like this sport for spending night in a comfortable or at least a safe environment.
All right, Mr. Abu Zafar Sadiq, thank you so much for speaking to Indus News. Now moving on, another Indian farmer has committed suicide during the protest against the farm laws at Turkey border near New Delhi. As many as 175 people have died during the agitation. According to the suicide note, the farmer took his life in protest against the government's controversial laws. Meanwhile, the farmer unions have called on peasants across the country to join the tractor revolution. The farmers' union also warned that they will intensify their agitation in the coming days if the laws are not repealed by October. In a press conference, Congress's Rahul Gandhi also expressed solidarity with the deadline announced by the farmers. He called on the Modi government to quit arrogance and end the suffering of farmers by withdrawing the anti-agriculture laws. In Myanmar's biggest city, Yangon, thousands of people have marched for a second day against the military coup and detention of Aung San Suu Kyi. Protests in Yangon carried by red balloons representing the NLD party and chanted slogans against the military. Hundreds of students and doctors also gathered in the city of Mandalay to protest. Earlier, the country's parliament rejected the military rule in a joint statement. Nearly 300 lawmakers said they alone represent the people and will continue their struggle for democracy. The military, meanwhile, is tightening its grip by blocking internet across the country and arresting more political leaders. The Taliban have warned of more violence in Afghanistan if the Biden administration violates the Doha peace deal. Referring to Washington's decision to review the pact, they said that the United States will be responsible for any escalation. The United States Congress has also called on President Joe Biden to abolish the May 1st U.S. troops exit deadline. Last month, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Washington is reviewing the group's commitment to the pact, while the Pentagon also showed serious concerns over peace negotiations amid a surge in violence in Afghanistan. Iran threatens it will have to harden its nuclear stance if the United States sanctions are not erased or eased by the 21st of February. In an interview, Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif urged Washington to act fast to return to the 2015 nuclear accord. He said that the time is running out for the Americans, both because of the parliament bill and the upcoming elections in the country. Zarif warned that the deal could jeopardize a hardline president is elected in June elections. U.S. President Joe Biden's administration is exploring ways to restore the deal, but it says that the accord will only be restored after Tehran resumes strict compliance with its terms. China's ambassador to the United Kingdom has slammed the media report regarding expelled Chinese journalists. Ambassador Louis Xiaoming said that the Chinese journalists in Britain always abide by professional ethics and local laws. The Chinese ambassador said journalists from Beijing report in line with truthfulness and factual accuracy. Xiaoming said that the media personnel promote understanding between the peoples of the two countries. The Chinese embassy also urged Britain to discard the ideological prejudice against China. It called on London to treat the China-UK cooperation objectively and fairly for a more conducive bilateral relationship. British drug maker AstraZeneca says its vaccine can provide immunization against the South African variant. The company's statement came after a recent study claimed that the vaccine was ineffective against the mutant strain of the virus. Meanwhile, Latin America is once again in the eye of the COVID-19 storm. Mexico has reported over 1,300 deaths, while nearly 100 people lost their lives in Brazil over the past 24 hours. Brazil's rate of infection spread has also spiked again, with over 50,000 people contracting the virus for the third straight day. Globally, the virus has claimed over 2.3 million lives and infected more than 105 million people. While in Pakistan, another 53 people have died from COVID-19 over the past 24 hours. The country's death toll has risen to 11,967. The health ministry says 1,346 new infections were detected overnight. Out of nearly 554,000 cases detected so far, more than 510,000 people have recovered. The number of active coronavirus cases in the country has crossed 32,000, with the southeastern Sindh province worst hit. The ministry said that the death rate is 2.2%. The Saudi-led military coalition in Yemen says it has intercepted and destroyed an armed Houthi drone. Coalition spokesperson Colonel Turki al-Malki said that the drone was headed towards southern Saudi Arabia. The bomb led an unmanned aerial vehicle aimed at the targeting of civilians and their properties. The coalition intervened in Yemen in March 2015 against the Houthis, after the group ousted the Saudi-backed government from power in the capital, Sana'a. In Tunisia, police and protesters clashed as thousands took to the streets in Tunis in defiance of a lockdown. They rallied against police abuses and marked the anniversary of the 2013 killing of an activist. Riot police deployed cordons around the city center. They stopped both cars and many people from entering the streets around Avenue Habib Bourguiba. This was the country's biggest demonstration in years. Unlike previous marches in recent weeks, the rally was backed by the country's powerful labor union. Sudan has warned Ethiopia against any unilateral step to fill the Renaissance Dam on the Blue Nile. Khartoum has termed the move as a direct threat to Sudan's national security. In an interview, Sudanese Irrigation and Water Resource Minister Yasser Abbas said if Ethiopia goes ahead with its plans, it will threaten the lives of half the population in central Sudan. He added that the filling will also halt the supply of irrigation water for agriculture projects. Sudan has proposed mediation by the United Nations, the AU, the European Union, and the United States to help break the impasse. This coincides with the increased tensions between Sudan and Ethiopia over disputed farmland near their shared border. Russia's energy giant Gazprom has resumed pipe-laying for Nord Stream 2 natural gas project in Denmark's waters. This comes amid increasing pressure against the Moscow-led project from Washington. Gazprom said that the latest pipeline laying activities by Fortuna followed successful completion of sea trials. It added that all works were being performed in line with the relevant permits. The new link will double the capacity of the existing Nord Stream pipeline to 110 billion cubic meters of gas per year. Around 120 kilometers of the pipeline will be laid in Danish waters, as well as 30 kilometers in German waters. The United States has long opposed the pipeline, saying that it will increase Russian leverage over Europe. In Egypt, authorities have released Al Jazeera journalist Mahmoud Hussein after over 4 years in detention without formal charge or trial. The 54-year-old was arrested in Cairo in 2016 while visiting his family for a holiday. The media network welcomed the release and said that it was an inspiring milestone towards press freedom. In 2018, the United Nations concluded that the conditions of Hussein's imprisonment amounted to inhumane treatment. It's now time for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. In the U.S. state of Utah, 4 skiers have died while 4 others have been injured after an avalanche in the Mill Creek Canyon near Salt Lake City. The snow slip marks the 3rd deadly episode in days and the deadliest in the United States since May 2014. Police officials told reporters the skiers were in 2 groups, one group of 5 and another of 3. They said that the 4 survivors were able to dig themselves out of the snow and call 911. Efforts are underway to dig out the bodies of the skiers who died. Russians have celebrated the annual Sunny Fest in Mamadesh town in the Republic of Tatarstan. The event reads in Russian as the Sleigh Festival. More about this event in this report.
A good winter weekend consists of a lot of sledging and pancakes for one provincial Russian town. The Sleigh Festival in Mamadesh town is in its 5th year and sees several dozen teams compete on an ice slope, wearing comical costumes and going downhill in decorated sledges for the award of the most festive platform. Decorations included references to traditional Russian and Tatar fiction, as well as parades and tags. The students of a local Polytechnic college prepared a giant pancake that was 2.5 meters in diameter to mark the festival.
We are cooking a giant pancake. It is a giant pancake, 2.5 meters wide. Its recipe is a secret: water, flour, eggs, sugar, and all the rest.
Representatives of Turkish business in Tatarstan also took part in the festival, with the Turkish flag featuring in the contest.
In Denmark, the annual Copenhagen Light Festival has kicked off with the coronavirus restrictions still in place. The event has brought much-needed light and bursts of color to the Danish capital. This report brings you all the details.
The light installations are mostly located inside and around the Copenhagen city center. But due to coronavirus pandemic, guided tours, talks and pop-up events have been cancelled. Instead, visitors can find information about the installations on the city's bridges and buildings through an interactive map.
We are so happy, thankful and proud of having, I guess, the only lighting festival of the year. I cannot express how many people have been doing an extra effort to make this possible, but we have certainly been working for a long stretch, and it's just an amazing thing to see all these people suddenly going around the city.
The event marks the 4th year the festival is taking place, and this time around 30 light installations can be seen around the city.
It's a 3-kilometer route, and actually there's another route of 3 other kilometers. So people having a good time in a good distance and enjoying themselves, seeing the city in a new way.
Locals and foreigners alike are delighted for this gleaming distraction from lockdown and the pandemic.
Copenhagen Light Festival, it's just really great in a cold February. Something to do, something to come out into town for. Even though it's cold, it's really nice to just actually have something.
The festival will last throughout February, with people jubilant to witness such a beautiful display of lights.
It's now time to take a look at the weather around the world. That's all from the newsroom. For the latest news updates, you can follow us on our social media at Indus.News.